Hey, this is Matthew and welcome back to Nerd News Today. We've got another action figure review for you guys today, and this time it's another entry in McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse line, and this is the Teen Titans version of Cyborg. I watched Teen Titans when I was in college, and it was one of my favorite shows at the time, and it remains one of my favorite shows. And even today, as Teen Titans go, I still am a big fan of that series, whether or not you are. That's your own personal opinion, but I'm a fan of this Teen Titans universe. And I didn't know that Cyborg was going to be coming out, so when I saw that he was, I got really excited because we haven't had any Teen Titans figures really since the show was first on the air. And those toys were okay, whatever. We have had Teen Titans Go figures, those were not for me. So yeah, this line here from McFarlane is really meant for the adult collector, I believe, and I've got some pretty high hopes for it. We've been enjoying a lot of what McFarlane has done so far, and yeah, I'm optimistic they're going to keep the quality high for this line because this is going to definitely be a line fans are going to want to get onto. So let's talk about this packaging real quick. It's identical to basically every other DC Multiverse figure that McFarlane has done. It's got a predominantly black background with a few bits of white to help make it pop. You got the DC logo, very large window display in the front so you can see everything that it comes with. Not much really talk on the side, just has Cyborg's name, and other side is just really a window into the hand as well. Nothing really interesting to talk about. The back of the box has no bio about Cyborg whatsoever, but it does have an illustration of him. And it lets you know that the source is from the 2003 Teen Titans cartoon show. And we also get a look at some of the other characters who are joining Cyborg in this lineup, which is, surprise, surprise, pretty much all Batman characters. The first time I looked at any of McFarlane's DC figures was the Wonder Woman 1984 figures, and I like those a lot. And one of my complaints about the packaging was how tiny all the other figures in the line are represented down here. And here we are now, a few months later, and they're still doing the same thing. They're basically just taking the trading card that comes in the box, shrinking it down super small, putting it there, and it doesn't really make me want to buy other figures. It's not showing me the toys, it's just showing me an illustration from the comics about the character, and the names are so stupid tiny, I can't read them. Really, everything in this box is super tiny, and I hate that. I hate this box, I hate this packaging from this back. From the front, it's fine, but this back needs to get really upgraded or changed or something. I do appreciate the giant picture of Cyborg, but yeah, everything else, it's just, what's the point, really? That's kind of how I see it, is what's the point? But really, what is the point? Because I'm not a mint-on-card collector anyway, and I'm going to take this Cyborg out of the box, and that's why you're here too, to see how the Cyborg looks out of the packaging. So let's go ahead now, take the Cyborg out of the packaging and get a better look at him from all angles. Booyah, our Cyborg is now out of the packaging. Let's take a better look at this figure. And yeah, so the first thing I really like about this figure is the sculpt all around. This absolutely looks like Cyborg. They've got all of it down completely. You know, one of the things I was concerned about was the fact that Teen Titans is a very cartoony show. It's basically American-style anime, and you know, the figures can either translate really well or translate very poorly depending who does them, how they handle them. And I think McFarlane has handled this very well because it really does look like the cartoon. But not only does it look like the cartoon, it also looks like it fits into an action figure universe. The toys we saw back when it first came out were very simple. They were really meant for kids. This is the adult collector line, and you know, this looks like it could serve basically the same purpose for kids and adults. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to pose, a lot of fun to play with. So let's talk a little bit about that. One of the things I really do enjoy about this figure is the head and the likeness of Cyborg, and I think this looks a lot like he did in the cartoon. I like that they kept this very simple. And you know, what's also really kind of cool about this lineup is that they have done Batman animated series figures so far in this scale too. So you've basically got an animated universe that's being built within the McFarlane Toys line. And they're all going to basically look good, they're all going to scale up together nicely. So yeah, hats off to them for doing that. I think the thing that stands out the most in this figure though are going to be these translucent blue pieces, if you will, that really add to the effect of the cartoon show. Because the cartoon, he always had that kind of blue look to him. You could see the cybernetics within him. And the way they did this here is really clever, really smart. It gives us all that cool information. It keeps that exciting blue look to it. I think it was handled very well, very good choice from McFarlane Toys. You can see it in the shoulders, in the gauntlets, in the thighs. Yeah, I really like that. I always like that in the cartoon. It's like one of my favorite things about Cyborg, especially actually the back of his head. I always loved the back of his head. I always thought that was just really cool looking. So yeah, they've totally nailed that. Let's talk about articulation and posability. So how well articulated is this piece? Well, on the packaging, McFarlane Toys boasts this has 22 points of articulation. Let's find out about that, shall we? So our head can turn left and right, and it is ball jointed. That's a little stiff. Shoulders are ball jointed. These are actually very loose. I'm surprised they're this loose out of the box, in fact. And they're not like whipping wobbly floppy, but they definitely are loose. They feel like they've been manhandled previously. Let's see, the bicep does turn. Our elbows do move. Unlike the Warhammer figures we looked at recently and some other figures, these don't appear to be double jointed. They're just one elbow joint, it looks like. The wrists are ball jointed and they can flex. These are still very stiff out of the box. It's weird how the shoulders aren't stiff, but everything else so far is. This looks pretty stiff too. Our buck can move left and right. Again, that's really stiff and resisting me. The waist, you know, I've noticed that the waists don't really move that well on any of the McFarlane toys, but it does move. You just gotta give it some extra force. Thighs are very good though, you can see that right there. We do have a little bit of flex in them too. The knees on Cyborg are in fact double jointed. We've got a ball joint in the leg and they also can flex and rotate too. So yeah, I think this time around the articulation is actually pretty good on this figure. And the packaging is definitely accurate with it. Cyborg is packaged with a few different things. One of those things is his trading card, which you can see right here. The back of it has a data file, which gives you a little bit of information about him, brief paragraph about him as well. I guess this makes up for them not putting any information on the back of the toy. But even then, you know, I don't want to spend too much time talking about the packaging because I don't care that much about it. But I do still think the back of the box needs to have something a little bit more exciting on it than just a photo and very tiny pictures of who else is in the line that you can barely even look at. In addition to the trading card, Cyborg has an alternate hand. This hand, it looks like it can actually go on either one because there's no thumb on it, so you can make it ambidextrous. But this is his blast effect, so you can go booyah. Let's try it out right now. Let's pull out a hand. Hope for the best with this. Let's try it on the left hand. The right hand was giving me a lot of trouble, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in the left hand instead. Squeeze it on in there, and booyah. There we go, that's how that looks. That does look really nice, but the one downside is because, like I said before, Cyborg came out of the box a little floppy, his hand is kind of fallen down already. It can't really handle the weight of this blasting effect. That's unfortunate, because even the blast effect actually looks like it did in the cartoon. That's really cool, in fact. It's got the same kind of look and feel of the cartoon, but yeah, I just wish he could actually stand up, because you can see it's already fallen right down. That's because his arm is so loose out of the box. That's disappointing. And lastly, Cyborg has a base. All of the McFarlane DC toys have bases. I think all of their toys in general come with bases now, which is definitely a good thing to have. Let's see how it stands up. There we go. And there you have it. That's our Cyborg all on the base. A little tipping over, a little lopsided for some reason too. I don't know why that is. So yeah, this is really cool looking. I'm super excited about this toy. And what I'm even more excited about is the continuation of this line. But to be fair, that's actually one of the reasons I was a little hesitant about buying this Cyborg in the first place, because I don't know what their plans are, and I don't know how McFarlane works. You know, right now we've seen McFarlane has announced a ton of Multiverse figures, and I want to say like 90% of them are Batman. There hasn't been much talk beyond Batman. And you know, we're talking Teen Titans now. We got 4 more members to go here. How long is it going to be before we finish the team? That's what concerns me. Now, I know McFarlane has this DC license for quite some time, but what's their plans for the Teen Titans? Are we going to have to wait for one of them every single year, and it's going to take 5 years to complete this line? And the thing that worries me about that too is McFarlane, quite frankly, they're kind of quitters when it comes to certain toys. We've seen them do Star Trek, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. They did one wave and they quit. And I'm worried that if a toy like Cyborg here doesn't sell that well, then they're going to just throw in the towel with the Teen Titans also. I don't want that to happen. That's why I'm buying this figure, because I want to support it and make sure they keep coming out with them. So really, that's just my biggest concern, my biggest problem with the figure, is just the hope that they're going to make more of them, aside from the fact that he's got some floppy joints. But the user mileage may vary. If you buy this toy, I'd like to know if you've got floppy joints in the arms also. But other than that, other than the fact that I'm a little bit worried about if they're going to keep the line going, I still think this is actually a great figure. This is the best Cyborg figure they've ever made from Teen Titans, that anybody's ever made, period. And it's so good that, yeah, I need to get the rest of the team from McFarlane Toys. So if anybody from the company is watching right now, hear my pleas, and I know I'm not alone in saying this, but we want all the Teen Titans. We need to get Robin, Starfire, Beast Boy, and Raven. And we don't want to wait 5 years to get all 5 figures. So McFarlane, the ball is in your court. Let's see what you guys can do with it. But otherwise, this is a very solid entry in their DC Multiverse line. I'm liking where it's going when it's not just related purely to Batman. And on that note, as I said before about them building up more animated series figures, I'm excited that they're not just doing the Batman series or the Superman series, that they're going into Teen Titans. And fingers crossed, maybe at some point, we're going to get Young Justice. But first things first, how about we finish up the Teen Titans, McFarlane? Let's get on that, yeah? If you guys like this Cyborg figure and want to pick it up for yourself, you can use our Amazon affiliate link in the description below, which costs you nothing extra and helps us out a ton. And while you're at it, hey, don't forget to give this video a like, and let me know what you think about this figure in the comments. So that's our look at the DC Multiverse Cyborg figure from Teen Titans, brought to you by McFarlane Toys. I'm Matthew, this has been Nerd News Today. We'll see you guys next time, and until then, booyah!